Greetings, loved ones. Today we're going to talk about why some seniors are more vulnerable than others. Help us get these messages out. Please subscribe to our channel, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit the like button and the notification bell, and please share these messages with others. You could save a life. So the question is this: why are some seniors more vulnerable to abuse than others? Most of us like to imagine growing old peacefully with few worries and lots of freedom to enjoy our most cherished personal interests. But the reality is that for many of us, our senior years will be different than what we envisioned. We may face new challenges that we didn't expect, and we may increasingly need to rely on the help of other people. As a result, we may become targets for abuse, neglect, or exploitation. So here are some of the risk factors to take into account. The first is chronic illness or disability can cause the senior to require more assistance and make them more vulnerable because they must depend on others. Dementia makes a person more vulnerable because they cannot think clearly to make decisions and might have trouble remembering things. Then depression or other mental health issues can cause the senior to withdraw from those who protect them. There can also be recent losses of friends and loved ones that make the senior isolated and lonely. They might begin to depend on strangers and are isolated from those who love them. Another risk factor is loneliness and social isolation, which causes seniors to become more vulnerable because those who might care well for them or protect them are not around to keep them safe. Then there's poor relationships with family members, which can cause seniors to be alienated from their friends and family, and they can fall prey to strangers or even others they know who step in to help them. There can also be a lack of cultural or community support, which means resources they might need are not available to them. There's also another risk factor of substance abuse, which puts the senior's health, judgment, and financial status at risk. Anything that's extra challenging for caregivers, such as incontinence, inability to walk or move independently, or sundowner syndrome. Sundowner syndrome, or sundowning, and other similar terms are commonly used in hospitals and long-term care environments when older patients become confused or agitated in the late afternoon, evening, or nighttime. Another risk is poor financial or technological illiteracy, which makes seniors more vulnerable to people who would exploit them for their money and possessions. Then there's also the risk of predictable financial deposits that make seniors more vulnerable to predators who know when they receive money and show up to either borrow money or help them to pay their bills and do shopping with them with the intention to steal from them. Then there's also the risk of low income, which puts seniors in a position where resources are limited and they might not be able to get the care they need. There's also the risk of valuable assets, which become magnets to predators who would try to convince seniors to turn over these assets to them or just outright steal the assets from them. Then there's sharing a living space, and this can cause seniors to be more vulnerable because previously they might have had their own space, like their own home, and they've never had to share a room, and now they're in a residential facility sharing a room, and it could expose seniors to violent or abusive behaviors by other seniors with dementia or problems. Then another risk is having caregivers who lack the necessary skills, who feel tired or overwhelmed, who abuse drugs or alcohol, or have financial or mental health problems. If a caregiver lacks skills, then they are unable to adequately care for the senior. A caregiver who is tired or overwhelmed might begin to neglect or even abandon a senior. If a caregiver has financial troubles, the stress of caring for a senior might cause them to not buy medicines or food for the senior, or even not make sure they had adequate health care. And of course, a caregiver who has mental health problems is dealing with their own issues and might neglect or even abuse a senior. Remember, nobody who is abused or neglected is ever to blame. No matter how vulnerable you may be due to your circumstances, you never deserve to be mistreated. If you're a victim, it's not your fault. There is never a good excuse for anyone to abuse or neglect someone. According to the WHO, 1 in 6 seniors above 60 years of age will experience abuse. The question is not if you'll encounter a victim of violence. The question before God is, what will you do when you do encounter them? You could be the person who saves a life. You are called. We are all called to be champions for justice. And those who suffer violence, they need to know that those who love them and those who don't even know them will reach out to them and give them the help they need before it's too late. Help us get these messages out. Please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit the like button, the notification bell, and please share these messages with others. You could save a life. If you're a victim of violence, please listen to me. I want you to know that you are valued, you are loved, you are intelligent, and yes, you are worthy. God does not want you to suffer violence. He wants you to live free from violence in peace and tranquility. And I want you to know that there is a way out. It's not your fault. Abuse is not love, and above all, I want you to know you are not alone. If you're a victim of violence, please reach out to somebody today. If you find yourself in a dangerous situation, call 911 for help. And if you know of a senior suffering violence, tell the authorities. You don't need proof, all you need is suspicion. In our next episode, we're going to talk about what to do if you suspect elder abuse. Until then, God bless you.